guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow in Scotland, and here on my YouTube channel I like to share what I get up to in my art studio. And today I wanted to share with you guys what I'm trying to do with these art pieces here. I am really enjoying stamping with my jelly plate here. This was actually a jelly plate that was an A4 size, and I cut it down to create 2 extra pieces that I can use in my artwork. And I wanted to do that because I've been speaking here on the channel about being efficient, about being able to put my process into a way that I can be consistent, and also so that I can add the things that I love to add to my artwork. So trying to recognize what it is that I like about my creative process will allow me to start adding parts and elements to my work that will be consistent with the way that I'm thinking, with the ideas that I have. And one of those is adding a pattern. And so I wanted to work on this piece today here. I have been doing that for some other pieces, like this one and like this one. And I was adding collage in the last piece that you saw of me creating here on my channel. I had the first part, then the second part, working with collage, and that's what I've got here as well on the page. And I'm making sure that with my collage pieces that I'm not keeping them just the way that they go in. I'm adding my own twist onto them and creating a unique piece. So I wanted to make the process easier. I want to be able to add the elements that I like, and that is what I've been working on these past weeks, and I'm getting where I want to get to slowly. So yeah, this is one of the ones I've been working on recently. It's almost finished. I'm going to figure out if I need to add some more, so I'm letting this brew at the moment, because that's what I do. I let things brew so that I can think about what else I might add to it, what other colors, what areas I might pull forward or push back. So that's what's going on with this one at the moment. So this one, I'm still probably going to add some more work to this. I'll pull it out. I will go into the background, and I will try and make the stag a lot more prominent on the piece, because that is the subject that I want to bring out. And as always, I will be using abstracted, approach to it, not trying to make it too specific or realistic, I should say, but sticking with the abstract methodology. So I wanted to pull this one out. I did this some time ago and I didn't like the way that it resulted. It kind of was just not what I wanted. So I'm going to go in and try and work on this piece and see what I can do with it today. But this is another example of some of the patterns that I've been using in my work recently, layering different strokes of paint, different textures. This one I used my stencils. Let me just see if I get that here. Oops. Let's see. So I used the stencil and I used my jelly plate as well. So I put some paint on it and put that over and pushed it down. So I'm seeing the different effects I can get using my different tools. With this stencil as well, you can also use spray paint, which I intend to do. Right now it's got acrylic layers underneath, and then scratching into it, different layers, different textures, a lot of layers with the jelly plate as well, the blue in the background. So I'll show you some of what I was doing to create this, and I've done quite a few of these backgrounds, because I'll just go ahead and paint into them as the process goes along. Also, what I got is I wanted to add flowers, because I love adding flowers to my paintings, and what I wanted to do was to add some flowers into the pieces. So I did buy some of these pre-pressed flowers, because yes, I could go ahead and try and do that, but as I said, I want to be a bit more efficient. I want to be just straight to the point. So I went ahead and bought some of these pre-pressed flowers that you can get on Amazon, no affiliation, and I add them to my work as well. So collaging in different ways, textures in different ways. That's what I've been experimenting with. As I said, it's looking at your interests, looking at the process to get those elements into your artwork, and that is what as I said, I've been working on over these weeks, and I'm starting to figure out how to make it a little bit more quicker for me to work on art pieces, you know, cutting the sizes of papers ahead of time and all those different things, mixing my paints ahead of time in these small containers as well, so that I can have the color variation that I want. And I really still need to expand on this because I don't have all the colors I would like. I have just, while experimenting, I was just looking at what I could mix, warm and cool colors, and trying to make sure that I have a good variation of light and dark colors as well. So that is more what I've been doing. And as I've gone along, the hilarious part is that the names I put on the top of them has become kind of like irrelevant, because I have been basically mixing. Sometimes if I have excess paint or I want to add something else, I've been mixing new paint. So what I'm going to do is get straight into this and start showing you how I'm going to change this piece of artwork, because I really do not like the way that this looked. Before I put this blue on, the blue stenciled kind of texture on it, I had already got some, what do I call it, modeling paste on it, and I put that through a stencil to get this kind of floral design on it. So there's some flowers in there. And what I did was then go over it, like I said, with this jelly plate with the design, which I'll show you in a minute. But the stag underneath just reminded me of, have you ever seen the movie Species? The way that it was, it just reminded me of that, and I was like, no, that's not what I was going for. So I'm just going to use a China marker and just go over this. And I am just, as usual, just layering different things on. I want to make myself feel free to do things on this. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to also then turn it upside down. So these are the amount of different techniques you can do to get yourself feeling freer with your art piece. So now the textures I did before were with kind of, let's see what kind of paint. Well, the brush, I think there were circles. So I think I want to just make some marks on this. I like making quite small marks a lot. There's so many ways you can approach this. It's like ridiculous variety of things. So I'm just going to wet my brush there and think of what color I want to bring in here. I think I thought of bringing in some pink, because I haven't got that in here yet. And if you can see from a lot of my work, I like to add that fluorescent pink. That was another thing I found in my journey as I was working along, is that I like the fluorescent acrylics because they're just amazing. They bring such a vitality to the art pieces, and like a little bit of piqued interest. So I'm just adding this pattern here. I like to add a lot of dotted patterns. Sometimes it'll be like lines, but I am enjoying just adding this. I find that I also like, through this process of learning about what I like doing, you know, in my practice, monotonous kind of mark making where I just repeat things. So I've been finding that fun. So just press it down, and you can see how that works out. So as I said, this jelly plate was an A4 size, and I cut it down because I wanted to be able to do what I'm doing right now. Exactly what I'm doing right now was to get the opportunity to make patterns, huge variety of patterns, whatever I wanted. I might bring in, right, what other color is not in here? Like a yellow. Should it be a bright yellow? I keep using like my kind of a warmer yellow. So I'm just gonna close this off because I've left it open. But yeah, I have tucked myself into this space. I put this tree to be like a little bit aesthetic, but I am basically like merged into a corner here. So you can do anything on these jelly plates. It's really fun. It doesn't have to be, you know, just every time that you fill the whole space. You can just make a design, go in and, right, let's see what this does. So it's fun experimenting. And what way would I want it? Would I want it straight down as well? No, let's just try it this way. I'm a bit haphazard with this because I don't really care much about the designs I'm putting down. I am going to be painting over it, you know, when it dries and stuff. So I should go over this as well. I think I'm going to put some white on next because I want to lighten some areas. I'm going to put the white, or should I put a turquoise? Maybe kind of a turquoisey green blue. And I'm gonna probably put like it all over. So I'm looking around for my roller. I could just do it with my brush like this, mixing it in. There's so many ways. You can use a roller, you could do whatever you want on this jelly plate. So, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun going ahead and working with this because it has made my mark making a lot more efficient. It has made it quicker. It has given me the opportunity to really add my marks into my artwork because that is something I like to draw. Drawing was my first love, and being able to actually put gestures onto my artwork has been invaluable. So we have this here. I've gone over the stag again. I've gone over this to add a little bit extra. I can do some other stuff. Let me see. I've got my rolling. Where is it? I'm trying to look for my tools here. Ah, here it is. So I've got different sizes of these kind of rollers. I have like this one as well, which gets stuck a lot. And then I also have this bigger one. So it's like knowing your tools that assist you in making your art is really good. So what I'm going to do in a minute is take this to the side and just use up this bit that I have here, my jelly plate. So that's what I've been doing. It's like you just keep alternating things. So that's why beforehand I had cut all of the paper sizes that I wanted so that I can use them for what I want. And I've done the colors ahead of time, and it's just about making things more efficient, having all my tools around me as well. So if I want to do anything, I can just go right ahead. Like now I want to scratch into this. So I have this like a barbecue stick. So I can just scratch into it. I was going to roll or something, wasn't I? As well, and I have my spritzer, it's over there, but I'm going to use this. I'm trying to think if I want to add another color at the moment. I think I want it to dry, so you can roll it over this and kind of blend some areas a bit more. They're mostly drying. Yeah, I was going to add some white as well, wasn't I? So let me just think how I want to add the white. If I want to add black as well, I can do that, but I want to add white. I've been using my white gesso as my white, but I'm thinking I want to actually get acrylic white again as well, because I think that they work slightly differently. They have a different way of responding to other paints, so I'm gonna have to think about that. But yeah, I'm gonna add some of this white, trying to think of what design I want to do. Like you could do dots, or I could do like circles. So there's so much you can do. You can take your time as well. I am a bit Russian here. But I love working with acrylics, really. I think that is my favorite medium. I am working with oils as well, but acrylics dry so much faster that it is much better to, for me, it's quicker to use in the implementation of a lot of pieces. But also you can use it as a beginning layer if you wanted to work on an oil piece. So, but taking the time, knowing my process, knowing the tools I'll need to fulfill those processes, and then getting them to work like this has taken some time. Yeah, so I've got that pattern there. I'm just going to put this down. And right now I'm thinking, where do I want to put this? I could disrupt this area here, because also I'm thinking in the back of my mind that I'm going to have the stag somewhere. Do I want this white pattern in the stag? I could have it in the sky, but I'm going to put it like midway here. This one. And then I can get it in the body of the stag. So sometimes it's thinking ahead to think, oh, that'll be interesting. And basically it's like half the work is done already, because using these patterns is so much fun, and getting all sorts of interesting details. So once again, I'm going to use that excess onto this piece I have. And sometimes you could turn this over if you want to use something else to roll over it. There is, I think it's something called, is it for burnishing? You do get something you can put over this, like a special tool for rubbing the paper into. So yeah, I've taken that excess off onto that, and that's going to be building its own layers. So if we let this dry, then we'll be able to come back and work on it. I am going to maybe blend in some more of what's remaining on this brush into other areas and try and scumble it. So I'm trying to bring the colors that are in certain areas together with other colors, so that it doesn't look like it's a separation of things. So it's kind of mixing the white a little bit, so it's not so stark. Right, I'm gonna wash my brush off, but yeah, that's changed quite dramatically. And let's see what I want to add. So what I've been doing as well is drawing with my inks on these. It's basically painting out my stag, but usually I would wait till this dries, so I'm not going to do that. So I think I need to also figure out a way to plug my heating tool into this area, and then that would be perfection, because then I can dry this off completely. So I don't have that prepped. So we might go on to work on another piece of paper while this is drying. So I have a whole catalog of papers that I have been working on. So take this aside to let it dry. And as I was saying, a whole catalog of papers. So what would I want to use? So I can show you different examples of the process. I'm going to reach for some of my inks. Just hope I don't cause chaos. So as I said, different tools that I'm using, I'm trying to keep them around me so that I can access them a lot easier. So I have these inks, and I'm thinking I want to bring in like a green. So I'm going to bring in this turquoise. Let's hope I have enough to do this. If not, I'll go into my blue, baby. put the red to the side there. But yeah, so basically I would work on the textures, and then what I would do next is start sketching out my stag. So I'm going to do that on this piece, and then what we'll do after that is work on one of the ones that I've already done, which is similar like this one, but I'll show you how I go about creating that ink layer there. Let's hope this works, because it can be quite messy. I have to be free with how I'm doing this, so I am going to try and relax so that it comes out correct. Let's just make sure I'm not getting in the way of the microphone. I noticed that I did that on some of my other recordings. It was really annoying. So let's see, I want to do a stag. So you just go straight in and just allowing the ink to do its thing and trying to figure out squeezing it out at different times. So because I'm in the sketching phase, I'm just using whatever is coming out. And then I'm squeezing lightly to release some of that ink, because I want to create the antlers, and it's an abstracted antler, so I am fine with it doing whatever it's doing. So I think I'm going to do this one facing this way. So you have to be really, the more you practice, you know how your ink is going to come out, how much you're squeezing, how much tension you're putting onto the actual dispenser on this too. So I'm trying to do its little legs here, and it's got another one that goes up. So as you're doing all this, you'll be deciding what you want your stag to look like and all that. So I've got a stag out there, and let's see if I want to do some other designs with the remaining part of the ink. I don't have to at all, but I'm just going to do that. Just add some other areas, come in. I can add some dots down his neck. So the more you practice, you'll be able to know how much ink you have on this. But I love the happy mistakes that I don't know what's really coming out. So I am fine with it. So that's how I've been creating the stags. And as I showed you there, the backgrounds has been layers of different patterns created with a jelly plate, just with different tools I have here as well, rolling things on, and just using my brushes. And there you go. That is one of the stags drawn in. Now I want to show you how I add the collage onto that as well. And I'll just put this guy aside to dry. So as I said, I have this piece here that I've done a little bit of work, and I can always go in and add some more of the ink in here. This was because I did what you just saw there with the ink, but then I went over again with other colors. And also what could have happened is that the acrylic underneath might still have been a little bit wet, and when I put the ink over, they kind of blend and they fuse together. So different things going on. But I think though this blue is actually kind of like printed on with a jelly plate, so that has blurred those lines a little bit. But now I want to add a butterfly onto this because I want to collage stuff, or I could use actually maybe the flower as well. So I could do a flower, and this color looks really nice. So even like that, I could put it across like that. I like putting it on the body of the stag. I'm trying to do this thing where it's like showing the nature, that that the stag is amongst nature. So I'm really enjoying this. It's so much, and picking sides, like one side is a little bit duller and the other is brighter. So I want the brighter side. I might put it there just because, or somewhere here. And one more Let me see what these leaves look like. That looks really pretty, actually. So this flower could be higher up. It could be this here with the other one. I could layer it. There's different ways to do it. There's like individual flowers that are there as well. So just so many ideas of how to do it. I'm just looking at this to see, and the thing is, what would happen is that subtlety of this plant would be seen by whoever bought the art piece. The detail would be kind of revealing itself more and more as you go along. This stick, I think I'm gonna cut it off. So let me just get in here, and then I'm gonna see if I'm gonna add a butterfly as well. So just put that stick away, put it in the same pack. Right, so this is supposed to go here. So you can see there's a color here that's quite similar. And it's a thing of just knowing your colors and being able to apply it in a way that works for you. So much layering. This is another little bit that I'm seeing there. I might add to something. But I also want to use a butterfly. So I am going to see how I do that. And oh my gosh, there's so many beautiful butterflies in this book, collage book, that I got online. So many beautiful things. And I've cut a lot of them out, so I might look at the smaller ones because these might overpower this painting. It's a lot smaller. I don't want to overpower it. Ooh, I've just seen one I might add. Let me just cut this one out. Just use my scissors. There's so many different designs in here. Exciting, because it's like thinking of the color, and I'm thinking that could go over this quite nicely. So, and the thing is, you can wait for areas to dry. I can come in with some more acrylics that will blend these two things, like the flowers and the foliage and the butterfly, a lot more. And I will show you some examples of some other art pieces that I have done, which are very, like, kind of where I'm going with this. So you can see what I'm trying to do. But first I'll put these down so that they start drying. So what I've been doing is using my gel medium for this. And so I'm gonna just open this up and prep it. So gel medium. So layering, it's going to be in the order of what's first. So what brush am I going to use for this? Just seen it. So I'm just going to use this brush and just start putting them down and using quite a bit of, actually I think the other day I was using my, there's a tool I have that I can use to pick these up. Oh, I like that detail. So I can never tell where I wanted to put it here, but I feel like I'm covering so much detail. This ear. I feel like I'm covering so much detail because that red could work really well. And then if I put it in his face here, is that going to be odd? These are all the questions I have to ask myself, so I'm going to think about that a little bit more. And put this down. And it caused a lot of chaos here as well. Oh well, this is how it goes. So put as much down as possible. I'm trying to remember if I was using my what do you call it yesterday? If I was using my palette knife to do this before this. So should I use all of this? Is that too much? I might cut that. I'm gonna take some of it off, like maybe here. Oops, some extra bits flew off. Let's put it there. So I'm gonna leave those alone. This can go somewhere else. So I am using gel medium here. This is the gloss one actually. You can use whichever one you want, depending if you like to, do gloss vanish or whatever, because most of this painting is actually matte. So I'm gonna be using like a matte varnish over this afterwards. So I won't play with that too much. I put that over. If I think there's any bits showing afterwards, I will go over it again at another time. And let's see, what was I wanted to put down? Yeah, this. I want to put it on. I really feel like I'm going to be. So I'm going to make an executive decision and put it floating randomly. And it can be discovered in another time. I really don't want to cover its neck. That is what I've realized. So as you're going along, you can make all these decisions. So sealing that in, coming back to my butterfly, and I'm going to add it to like here, and then I'll pull out those colors in the leaves. Like I'm going to put another layer just because of my butterfly to make sure I get it in. And then I've not been putting the butterflies just, flat like that. I'm trying to make it like there is an actual interaction. So I tilt them. So then I now need to let this dry. And once it's dried, and I can come back in with my acrylic paints and different things. Let me just see, I'm gonna go over some other areas and possibly seal in the ink. Sometimes I think the ink is going to maybe run, so I'm very suspicious of the ink. I've had some that are not, that are still soluble even after you have worked on them with other things. So I'm always trying to seal every bit of my ink so that whenever I come back over, it's still gonna stay. So I'm just gonna go over all of this. And the more you work with your tools, you will know what happens with them and what doesn't happen with them. It's good to experiment. It's really important to experiment. So yeah, that's me. Added a butterfly, I've added a flower. That has been part of the collage process. And if I wanted, I could add another butterfly, but I'm just gonna leave it at that one and come back to this once it's dry and add some more ink to it and things. I just want to concentrate on making sure that these are all dry first before I put any ink, because then the ink can react to water or any other kind of medium and spread all over the place. So I just want this to basically work its way into the drying mode, and then I'll come back in. I will add paints in different colors. I'll bring the butterfly out as much as possible. I might go back in into areas in the stag and try and highlight things, but then now you have that detail of the plants. And yes, I could paint this plant, but what it's doing for me is that yes, it's going to be there, but if I'm inspired by what I'm seeing, I usually react to this and I might add an extra leaf. And then I'm training myself as well, because what I could do is that when I get in here, I'm going to look at the colors, and when I'm starting to work again later on, I might look at my green pens and go, oh, maybe I'll add another leaf here. But then I would have used my green pens or my acrylic or some other medium. So that is how I'm responding to all the different mediums that are on my pieces. They are activating ideas, they're activating skills that I wouldn't get otherwise if I didn't put them there on my actual page, so that I can engage with them, I can interact with them. It's a very interactive process. I've just remembered this little guy is not being used. I'm going to put him somewhere. Put you somewhere so that you're part of the story. Been washing my brush, but I'm just going to dry it as much as possible, and then quickly put some more of this on, because it shouldn't be too wet. I want it to dry as quickly as possible. I just want only the gel medium, if I can say that, to be the main driving force on this. So yeah. And then wash that off. So that is my gluing down situation. Let me now show you where basically all of this will go. I mean, this has been a long session to share with you what I'm doing here, but I'm going to show you some others that I worked on and the results of those. So I'll put this one aside. I'm just going to get up briefly and go and get that and show you. Right, let me go and park this away. Right, so put this. So I sit down comfortably. Right, so I have like this piece here that I've been working on, like the one I've just been showing you, that process. And there's one of the butterflies I've put on this one. And also, right, let me just make sure that you can see. So yeah, so there's a butterfly there, and this piece, I've made sure that I've highlighted the stag, and I've gone over it again with like acrylics. I've blended some areas, trying to kind of mute them, but then there's different colors in there as well. So like a lighter green, that green is this green that I have here that I've mixed. So using my colors, my yellows, there's a dark yellow, there's a lighter yellow. The colors I have around me is what I've been using, and it's been so exciting to not have to think about mixing so many colors as I'm going along. If there was a little bit that I want to add to zhuzh a little bit up, that would have happened in the initial process of my, of making the patterns in the background, and I can bring those all in as I'm experimenting with the layers. So that's that one, and it will be put into like a mount like this at the end of it. I still need to sign this one. Actually, I need to, sign it, and I need to varnish it as well, actually. So I'm trying to remember what order that goes in. But yeah, it'll be an amount like this, and that will be it ready for a client to enjoy. I wanted to show maybe a couple more. Got to be careful where I put these because I've got a lot of wet paintings around. So here's another one that I worked on, and so this one has its butterfly here, and I really love the way that butterfly looks. So these are the ones with the butterflies. I did start some that have some flowers on them. They're not finished. So the closest is the one you've seen really to being finished, I would say. But yeah, ink, the layers, scratching into it, getting all those details in there and pulling out areas. Some patterns have made it through from the, prior layers, and just going along, bringing in this butterfly and the coloring and adding in that specific butterfly because that orange color is in other areas of the artwork. So I'm being deliberate in the pieces that I'm collaging onto the artwork. I mean, you can collage and you don't see those parts necessarily. Maybe you're collaging for texture, because if you use different fabrics and they have different patterns on them that you want to bring in as part of your texture. Another one, again, this time it was a blue butterfly I used from the selection, and I've still worked over this blue butterfly. I've gone over with blue paint. I've marked out some areas, like here I used, let me see, where is it? Like the white Posca pen to write this, like to make these little circles on it. And it's in this blue area that I've gone over with paint at different points to try and blend it with other areas. And scratching into it, the kind of like writing scribble, abstracted scribble that I do in different areas that I really love. And this is something that's coming into my landscapes as a whole. It's coming into my figurative work as well. And I want that consistency to go through everything I'm doing so that it will become more recognizable. That is what leads to you having a style, is when you are consistent in your art process. And that's what I'm doing for myself. I'm trying to make sure that when I sit down to create a piece of artwork, I'm being very deliberate in how I'm doing it. I'm being very specific. Another piece here with the greens in the background, the colors that I've mixed. Then, but before that, all the different textures, some of them are coming through, but then you're redacting some of them. And so you can see the outline of the stag that I used with the ink process again. And then the butterflies that I've cut out, I have now gone over them with some black marker pen as well and highlighted some areas with the yellows as well. So if you did look closer, yes, you would be able to see that they're cut out, but from afar, it's like a different effect. So textures from different paints and processes, rolling, scratching, modeling paste. It's really exciting to do this. So let's see, one more here. And I try to do different poses for my stags as well, so that it's not as boring or anything like that. So this stag here is slightly different. It looks like it's going to drink water as well. I just love all the different stories. So I've still to actually name these as well, I think. Let me just check the back. Yeah, I've still to name these and sign them. So that's what's going to be happening next. But yeah, I wanted to just share with you what I've been getting up to in the studio, what I've been painting, a little bit more on my process again, and sharing a complete process with you today is what I wanted to do. So once, let's see. So once this one dries that I did earlier with the ink, I'm going to go in, like I said, with the other elements, with the butterfly and being patient. So working in a collection, working in a series really helps the patience, because if not, then it would just take too long. And as I said, I wanted to be more efficient, consistent, have a whole process going, add in the things that I love to add, that I like to do, enjoying all those different elements of collaging and the subject matter that I'm collaging onto my artwork as well, like being very selective with what I like. And I do like birds as well, so I'm looking into that, because you can probably get collages that are birds, other kinds of flowers. It doesn't have to be like the real dried flowers as well. It can be images of flowers as well already, like from magazines or whatever. There's so many different ways I can do my collaging. I could do three-dimensional collaging, so like three-dimensional elements that I can add to things as well. But mainly it's two-dimensional for me at the moment. There are some other ideas I can share with you on another point of some other artwork I used to do in the past that I will bring up, because I want to go back into that again as well and explore that a bit more thoroughly with what I know now about my art process. So, but yeah, this is where we are, and I thought I would share that with you guys today. So thank you so much for being here. It has gone on longer than I would like. I'm planning to have some classes on my website and hopefully record that at some point. But please let me know if there's any kind of classes you think I could teach. Then I would really love to hear from you for any suggestions you might have, and I'll have those on my website. I have a couple there now, but I have plans to add some more in the new year as well. So any classes you think that I might be able to create for you guys, but I will go ahead. I love working with abstracts and different subject matters. So maybe you could give me subject matters that you think I can work on in an abstract way, and how I would approach that. You know, what would my process be to work on a specific idea, a poem, a subject, anything, you know, just let me know. Or an animal, because I like doing animals. Any sort of like random words that you think you could put together for me to work on an abstract. I would show you how I would work with that, and that process, what would be involved in that process. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me. As I said before, I am Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow in Scotland, and this is where I love to share my art process with you guys, what I get up to, the mediums I use, and just to inspire you to go ahead and create for yourself, whatever sphere you love to create in, whatever artistic sphere you love to create in. It can be knitting, it doesn't have to be what I'm doing, but it's about finding that time, even if it's 10 minutes, to enjoy what you're doing, because I absolutely love what I'm doing. I love all the colors, and I'm making the space for it. It isn't easy when you have family and everything to, you know, to look after, but it helps. This has helped me a lot in how I deal with my daily life, because I'm able to have this outlet for myself, and it's taken years to build to this point where I know what it is that I want to do with my time and how to make sure that that time is used to its best ultimate capacity. And so that's where we are right now. I'm sharing this time with you. The kids are in school. I'm making sure that I'm grinding this out. So yeah, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next week. And if I don't before Christmas, actually, this might actually be coming out on Christmas Day for all I know. I can't remember. This would date this video, me saying this, but at the end of the day, it is coming up for that time. So I don't mind. I'll understand if you don't get the chance to watch this straight away. Please do enjoy yourself and find the time to be creative. Bye for now. I'm gonna go. Bye guys. Bye.